Hi. Hi, Jian.
Hey,
Hi,
Wasim.
how are you? I'm good. How are
We're
you?
live.
How's going on? Yeah, we are live
Yeah,
now.
I'm great. I'm great. Are
Mhm.
we are we waiting for people to join?
Yeah, we are waiting to people to join. They will join in a few seconds.
Okay, great. I can see.
Mhm.
Awesome, awesome,
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, they are joining. Okay. So today we will discuss about Amazon SOPs, and Mr. Jian, he's with us. And Jian actually he started his journey from China, and
Yes.
he will share with us his experience, and he will discuss and share his experience and so many things more. So people are joining, let them join, and then we'll start.
Yeah, sure. We give just a few minutes and then we start.
Mm, we'll start.
Maybe they're eating. They just finished having dinner.
Exactly. Jian will discuss with us that capturing systems and creating SOP. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Hello. They all are saying hello to you.
Hey guys.
See, hello. It's all about
Okay,
you.
now I
Hello.
can see some the
Hello.
comments.
Yeah.
Hey guys, what's up?
Okay.
Feel free
So, Jian,
to
um,
right. Yeah.
what SOPs are and what SOPs are and what are the benefits implementing them in your business? Would you elaborate or would you like tell us, please?
Yeah, sure, sure. Thank you, Wasim, first of all, for having me here. So I'm Gianmarco from the host of the Seller Process podcast, and today we will talk about one of the main topic that I cover usually in the podcast, which is SOPs and systems. Wasim, you just asked me what are the SOPs. So uh, the word SOP it stands for Standard Operating Procedures, but actually it's kind of a fancy word that we use to say like a very simple concept. The SOPs are just the way
Mhm.
you do things. They can be written down or in a video form, but they are basically the model or basically the best and most efficient way on how we perform a task. Okay, so we do everything that we do in our business. For example, uh, creating shipping plans or launching a product or creating a campaign, a PPC campaign. That all follow a process, right? So even if you didn't write it down, you actually are following a process, right? So you do first you open Seller Central, then you select the products, then you choose the type of campaign and choose the bids. So that's a process. You just didn't you just have never probably written that down. But essentially what the SOPs are, it's just writing down and documenting our the processes that we use every day in our business. Okay,
Exactly.
and there are many benefits really. That's basically the basics and the foundations of every business that can scale effectively. One of the main benefits of having SOPs, so writing down your procedures, the way you do things in your business, is that you have to distinguish between linear effort and residual effort. So what is that? this can really, this is, guys, I think it's very important. You have to listen carefully about this, because it can change really the way you perform your tasks. So residual results, what is residual effort or residual results? It's when you put the effort one time and you get results over and over in the future. Instead, linear results, it's when you put the effort once and you get the result once. So, for example, you create a PPC campaign. Okay, so that's like, it requires your effort to create the campaign, and you will need, in order to do it again, you will need to again put efforts again to create a new campaign. So that's a linear result. Instead, for example, if we create the PPC automations to have, for example, optimize our PPC campaigns. Once we do it once, and that automation will go over and over in time in the future. So you don't have to think about it anymore. So I want you to think about writing SOPs as a way to gain results over time in the future, many times in the future, but just putting effort once right now. Okay. So why is this important? Because basically, when you write down the way you do your procedures, your tasks in your business, is that you will free up mental energy. So you don't have to think anymore about this task. You have it write down. You have it writing down, so you can follow it many times in the future, and you can also give it to your team. So that's another benefit. You can easily outsource any task to somebody in your team. Okay, so for example, the way I now I basically have most of the procedures already written down in SOPs in my business. So now every time a new team member come and join my team, I just don't have to spend zero time to train these people, because I have already all the videos, all the images, all the text, everything ready, and I just give the link to these people, and they just train themselves. They watch the videos and they just train themselves. So that's another great benefit of writing SOPs. Also, transferring your knowledge. You don't have to spend the time answering questions from your team, because it's everything written down there. So there are really several
Exactly.
other benefits, but these are some of the most important.
Exactly. You're absolutely right. This will take save your time as well, and it will give you some release, the stress, relaxation. So, how do you think that how to create SOPs and different type of SOPs? There's so many. Like, how would you explain? How would you explain these things?
Yeah. So creating SOPs, starting to create SOPs is very simple, because you just need to, you don't have to think that tomorrow you have to write down all the SOPs all at once. Okay, you just have to put it in your schedule. Okay, and every time, the next time you will do that kind of task, you can take some time to write down the SOPs. And in a while, I will tell you how to write it. But right now, just think that you don't have to place, a lot of time or a lot of your time. So the trick here is that the next time that you will do actually that kind of task. So, for example, let's say keyword research. Okay. So the next time that you will do a keyword research, then you will spend, let's say, like 20 minutes, 30 minutes more at the same time to just write all the steps that you are making. Okay. So, for example, you open Helium 10, you select, the ASIN, you do the reverse cerebro. So you write down all these steps, all the step by
Exactly.
step process that
Mhm.
doing you are
Doing.
using. Okay, and
Yeah.
then you just write it down every time that you are creating, that you are doing the task. This way, after 2-3 months, I think you should have almost every process that you do in your business, you will have it written down in SOPs. And now I can tell you also, like, what are the different types of SOPs. Okay, so there are different
Please.
types that, depending on the situation, you might use one or the other. So the main ones are the written SOPs that you can add with images. So for example, these are good whenever you have like a step-by-step process with only one possible outcome. So for example, let's say creating a shipping plan. Okay, it's a very simple procedure. You go on Seller Central and you select the product and create the shipping plan, right? Like, very simple. So this type of process you can actually like write down in like a Word document, or in Google Drive. You create a Google Doc. Okay, and then you create step by step. You write step by step all the steps that you are taking into making this task done. Okay, and then you also create some screenshots. You attach the screenshots. Okay, so next time, for sure, I mean, for you already know how to do that, but next time, that when you will hire new people, you can let them know the way you want this process to be, right? So this is one, the written SOP. Then the best form of SOPs are actually the video SOPs. So there are some tools that can allow you to take the screen, to record your screen. So these are very helpful whenever you have to create an SOP of a very complex task. For example, doing keyword research. Okay, keyword research is something that you have to really think about. Okay, it's not like something that everybody can do. I mean, everybody can learn, of course, but you have to think about that. It's case by case, right? So
Exactly.
in a video in a video SOP, you can record your screen while you are, for example, on Amazon, browsing on Amazon, or using Helium 10, or the spreadsheets from Cerebro, for example. And um, and you just uh, record your screen, and you tell all the step by steps uh, uh, procedures that they have to that people have to take in order to accomplish that task. Okay, so you can give the listener also your thought process. Okay, the way you think about this process, so they can learn from
Mm.
you. Okay, so you record once, and then you will have this recorded forever. Okay, obviously you'll need to update it once in a while, but then it will be easy to give it to your team whenever it's going to be the time. Then there is, for some another way of creating SOPs are the flowcharts. So things like squares connected by arrows. Okay, so each step, it's one action that you have to take. This is a more like a visual form of the written SOP that we talked about before, and this is very useful when there are like kind of a binary options. So for example, in PPC optimization, you can use a flowchart, because for example, in PPC optimization, if you have let's say no view, no impressions, you have to take some actions. If you have higher ACOS, you have to take another action. So this way you can represent very easily with a flowchart. Okay, so
Mhm.
if this happened, do this. If these other things happen, do the other thing. Okay, so um, it's a
Exactly.
visual way to represent a process. Then there is a process map, that it's like a high level view of the overall process. Like for example, product development, you can show, like similar to a flowchart, but you can show everything regarding this process. Okay, like for example, product development. So step one, it's product ideas. Step two, it's product validation and research. Step three, it's contacting suppliers. Step four, it's creating samples, for example, and so on. So you give like a very good understanding of the big process, like the main process. And then the last one is the checklist. You should use that. Checklists are very, very useful, and you should use them whenever you have like one task that it's sorry, one process that have several tasks, and you should do all of them, regardless the time, regardless a strict order. For example, the way I use the checklist is to, when I have like a new product, when I launch a new product, I go in Asana. You can use this tool called Asana, and you can set up the checklist there. And so, for example, whenever you start a new product, you create a new product, you have this checklist, like all the things that you have to do. For example, upload images, upload the listing copy, set up the campaign, enroll the product in Vine, start tracking keywords, and so on. Okay, so these are all things that you have to check, and that will give you, also you will have like a much more efficient process through checklists, that you will make sure that you will never forget anything. So these are
Okay, that's
the
great.
main types.
Mhm. This is great. You have elaborated very well. And for example, in your view, what is the depth structure of an SOP?
Yeah, okay, so now
Depth
we
structure
can
of an SOP.
enter. Yeah. So now we can enter in more details on how do you structure the SOP. Okay, so imagine just simply like a Google Doc. Okay, I actually use this in Google Docs. So what I do is to create SOPs with numbers. Okay, this is very important that you give the number to the SOP. Um, the way I create numbers with SOP is that the first number should represent the department. Okay, the department
Mhm.
of which the SOP belongs. And now in a while, just not to confuse here things, I will tell you like the department that I suggest you to use. So the first number is the department. The second number is the number of the SOP, and the third number is the number of the step. Okay, so this I can tell you
Estimated
more
time
just in a while.
required.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
then so once you have the name and the number of the SOP, so that's like the most important identifier. Okay, so you identify very well which number and name of the SOP it is. Okay, I will tell you more why this is very important actually, because at the end you will have hundreds. I have hundreds of SOPs, so you need to have like a very good way to name and number these SOPs. So then you start to write, why is this important? Okay, you have to ask this question, you have to write it down. Why is this important? Because every task have its own importance, and whenever you hand over to some of your team members, they have to know why they are doing this process. Otherwise, if they don't understand
Exactly.
why they're doing this process, they may think, they may not be very engaged, they are not motivated. Okay, because
Exactly.
they think, okay, this product, this guy, my boss is giving away some stuff, that he wants me to do, but actually, it's not important. Actually, you have to tell that
Mhm.
every task it's very important. You have to say that. Then the
Exactly.
third point is that you have to put the estimated time required. Okay, so you have to give like a ballpark. Okay, you have to say, for example, this task require between 20 minutes and 30 minutes. Okay, so the person who will actually use it, the SOP will know approximately how much time it should take. Then the fourth point is that you have to put the resources needed. Okay, so every task usually involves the use of tools, software, login credentials, and so on. So in this case, you have to give very specific details about what tools they are going to use. You have to give them, the login credentials. Can you guys hear me? I maybe I lost you. Hey guys, can you hear me? Sorry, I think I lost you. Just a second, guys. Wasim, it's not there. Hold on, guys. Just a second. I'm checking if Wasim is here.
There was some interruptions in the connection actually. It's clear now.
Okay. Are we back on? Are we back live?
We are back. We are back. We
Okay.
are back.
Awesome. Awesome. So I was saying, the resource needed. Okay, so the fourth point of the
Yeah,
SOP is that you have to put the resource needed. So for every task, usually there is involved some software or tool, or so you have to give the login credentials. So for example,
exactly.
if the person who will use the SOP will need to access a software like Helium 10 or any other software, they will need the login credential, or they will need
Mhm.
to download some other software. So you have to specify that. Okay. Then the fifth point is the frequency or the trigger. So you have to say, for example, this this SOP, how often will be used. So for example, I have SOPs that goes like every Monday. Every Monday, the person has to write down, all the KPIs and all the main metrics of the business. And every Wednesday, I have another SOP that says to how to manage the reviews. So if we get bad reviews, we have a system to actually go after that. So you have to specify the frequency of the SOP.
Exactly.
And then the sixth
Yeah.
point, it's the steps. It's here start the steps. Okay. So in that
Yeah.
case, you start to use the number that I was saying before. So remember, the first number is the department. The second number is the SOP number, and the third number is the step number. So for example, let's
Yeah.
say, one SOP has the number, like for example, I give you a real example: the reviews
Mhm.
management. My
Yeah.
SOP review management. It's like
Mhm.
SOP number 1.1.2. Okay, so because it belongs to department one, it is
Mhm.
the first SOP in department one,
Yeah.
and then after
Mhm.
that you have the several steps. So 1.1.1, 1.1.2, 1.1.3, and so on. Okay, every step it's one more number. Okay, so that's very
Yeah.
important because you will be able to modify things very easily at the end. Okay, and then the last step, the last point of
Mhm.
the SOP is the measurement, so, or the KPI. So is there a KPI attached to this SOP? Okay, so for
Yeah.
example, the
Mhm.
SOP keyword of product research. Okay, so
Yeah.
there is a KPI attached to that. So for example, we need to research more than 20 products, at least 20 products a week, for example. So that's the KPI. So the person who run this SOP
Mhm.
has to meet this KPI. Okay, 20 keywords
Exactly.
or products a week, for example. Or
Mhm.
if it's another kind of SOP that doesn't have like a clear KPI or a clear metrics, you have to ask yourself, what a successful result look like. So for
Mhm.
example,
Yeah.
placing an order to a supplier. Okay, so there is no KPI for this kind of SOP. Okay, but when you place an order to the supplier, what is the successful result there? In this case, you have to write it down like, we get the invoice from the supplier, and we have the deposit paid. Okay, so that's the successful result. So these 7 steps are the structure of each SOP. It may seem a lot, but actually a lot of these things will come natural to you once you will start using the SOPs, and you will become much faster. But this way
Mhm.
you will have like a very strong and efficient SOPs.
Exactly, exactly. So, what tools do you use to create SOPs and to collect the SOPs data?
Yeah. So that's very simple. Some of these I have already mentioned before. So in order to generate video SOP, you can use Loom, for example, or Screencast-O-Matic. So these two, or Vimeo actually. So there's three software that I can recommend. These all three works well, and one of them, Screencast-O-Matic, is also free actually. So you can use it to record your screen for free. And then for all the like written SOP, you just use Google Docs or Google Sheets or Google Slides. Depends. Okay, so I do have SOPs in a Google Doc. Okay, so like written, or I have SOPs in Google Sheets. So it's like a spreadsheet. Okay, because depending what kind of SOP it is, can go in a spreadsheet or in slides. So, for example, when I do the onboarding of a new member of my team, okay, I have slides. Okay, so I give them a presentation. I welcome these people in my team. So I show them the slides. Okay, so you can use Google Slides. Then for checklist and product management, you can use Asana. Okay, it's a great software I also use for myself, Asana. And by the way, you can find all these links to the sheet that you can download. Wasim will give you the link to download this sheet. And then for flowchart and like visual representations, you can use a software called a Lucid Chart or Canva. I think many people are know Canva. It's very useful. You can use Canva to create flow charts, and then you can store everything, all of these SOPs that you created. You store it in Google Drive or Dropbox, and the videos you can store it in Vimeo or YouTube or Loom. There are several, like, but I also have, for example, videos on YouTube. You just have to make sure that it's not public. You have to restrict the video just to your team, obviously, because otherwise it will be very bad if other people will see your SOPs.
Yeah. So, yeah, what are the common mistakes in the SOPs with that? I mean, like,
Common mistakes.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure. So there are several mistakes that people usually have in creating SOPs. So, for example, one of these is that you create it and then you just forget it. So that doesn't make sense because especially on Amazon, things constantly move and change. So you have to keep updated. You have to update this constantly. And then another, like, the worst mistake actually here, and I think not many here can relate, guys. Many think that um, the SOPs are just for the big companies, the one with big teams. They think that it's useful only for people that have teams, but that's not true. You can use it. You have to start using SOPs as soon as possible, even when you it's just you. If even if you're just the only one person working in your company, you should use SOPs. This is a common mistake, because SOPs can give you strong advantages in terms of all the benefits I said before. So it will help you to streamline the processes. It will help you to improve every process, not just thinking the way you are doing the process right now it's the best way. No, maybe there are better ways. So if you write that down, you can actually improve it. Okay. And then
exactly.
also, if you work now on creating the SOPs, as soon as you will have a team member, new team member, it will be super easy to hand over the work.
Okay.
While if you don't have it, it will be like a very difficult. And and you will save a lot of time creating SOPs. At the beginning it will take some time to make them, but then you will save a lot of time because actually you will have consistent results. Okay, that's one of the main thing of SOPs, having creating consistent results. Because now if you don't have any structure, you do every day, you do things differently. Okay, you do keyword
Exactly.
research every day in a different way. But if you have SOPs, you do every day in the same way, and this will give you consistent results, and that's what you want for your business: consistent results, right? So these are some of the main mistakes I see.
I have shared a link as well, and you people need to go and type your name and email. So and you will get some like gold the idea of SOPs. There is some links for your benefits, and you can go and enjoy that. I hope you all will go and type your name and email and do that. So Jan
Yeah,
has
sure.
explained very well everything. Please,
Yeah,
there's
thank you,
I,
Wasim. So
yeah,
mhm.
go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you for very much. Yeah, just maybe if people are wanting to stay like 5 minutes longer, maybe we can chat more. Like you can tell
Yeah,
me
we can.
about you. Like how do you work on? I can see you're very good at PPC. Like how do you make sure that you know you get
Mhm,
like good ACOS with your, and you keep the ACOS in control.
mhm. I started my journey from UAE, and now I'm selling on Amazon USA and UAE in both countries, and working for clients as well. For me, the most important thing to generate more results, and satisfaction of my clients. To lower the ACOS, to cover the ACOS, to keep the ACOS lower, what I do, I usually target the long tail keywords, but I target in broad, phrase, and exact as well. And most matching intents of that keyword. I usually do that, and I do not go on the higher bids, nor even the in the beginning, or nor even the mid or at the end. No, I just go to just 25% extra high than suggested bids. So it keeps a little bit control. I can keep a little bit control as well, and I go with the this one fixed bids. I go with fixed bids,
Hmm.
so at least I can have more control. Down only it's perfect that I can get cheap clicks, but down only sometimes, and sometimes fixed bids where I feel it's going well and performing well, perfect. So I do that.
Oh, makes sense. Yeah, understand. And do you use any external traffic to improve your
Yeah,
sales?
I do that. I do that. I do that. Because the external traffic, the external traffic is bomb. If you bring from outside, not from the Amazon PPC, Amazon PPC is very expensive now and increasing the bids and the like you have to play in the bloodbath as well sometimes. For example, a high search volume keyword and there's high PPC, high bids. That means you are going to spend a lot, a lot. So I use Facebook as well for the advertisement
Hmm.
and to bring the external traffic as well, Facebook, and I use Pinterest as well,
Hmm.
and yeah, Google Ads as well. I would like to tell you one thing that I'm looking on the Pinterest algorithm to help and find ways to redistribute in PPC across all the marketplaces and help agencies to able to redistribute PPC to other areas. I would say like effective or cross like efficient ways in efficient ways because the Pinterest has more power and cheap, very cheap, ads, and it can bring more traffic to your listings, to your storefront.
Hmm.
There you can get more cheaper and more cheaper traffic on Pinterest.
Hmm. Yeah, great. Sounds interesting. I think I will try for sure.
Yeah, and I will share the link again. I think I see the message on WhatsApp that they want to share again. I would like to share this link again, and so they can go and go banana. They can go
Yeah,
and enjoy.
yeah, for sure. Thank you, Wasim. Thank you very much for having me. And yeah, I enjoyed listening also
Yeah,
your insights. Yeah, thank you. So I hope to. I just you know, encourage people to download this sheet,
cheap.
because it will give you like more information about the we just spoke about, and so you can start implementing SOPs in your business as
Yeah.
well.
Let me my client, he messaged me that he's on the is also received the notification. Let me, he want me to tell his story as well. He started from 80% ACOS, and now his ACOS is 22%. And also he's selling lower ticket product, that is like, for example, if you are selling lower ticket products, lower margins, you will get lower margins. And if there is competition with me too products, for example, the same products you are selling and same your competitors, then it means you're gonna play more with price war and more with, like more, you have to come up with more and good plan of action, then
Hmm.
only you're able to. So for him, I work very hard and to get 30 20%, 22% actually echoes. And for some other clients, I usually my target echoes to just keep between 20 25 or less than 20, because, and for my some of clients it's under 30, like that. But generating results is more important, bringing the PPC sales is more important. And for example, if any client or any of them is looking for the PPC consultation or PPC sales to grow, then shoot me a DM. And you guys, you must need to go through this link, it's in the comments. Click, just type your name, email, and you will get a gold piece of gold. Actually, I would say.
Yes, yes. Great,
Yeah.
sounds great.
So thank you so much, Jan, for your coming, and it's really appreciated that you give your time. I hope you will be again here, and we will discuss so many things more, whatever we have or whatever we got from the queries.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Wasim, for having me. Yeah, hope to see you
Having a
soon.
have a nice
Yeah,
day.
yeah,
Bye.
you too. You too. Bye, bye.
Bye.